welcome to another really interesting program where we're trying to interview some of the the cream of the crop really when it comes to 100% positive achievement. As you know, a lot of the films and short programs that we're making is based in London, and we've got some interesting personalities to bring to you today. I introduce you to Aina Seye, who is basically the CEO of the Abbey Community Association and Centre based here in Westminster. So we're very lucky to get this interview basically and just look into some of the fantastic things that have been happening here at the Centre, including of course the International Women's Day that happened recently here at the Abbey sort of around in March. Okay, so Aina, please give us a short background about what you've been doing here at the Centre.
Well, we're a centre, we've been set up since 1948, a long time ago, set up in response to the Second World War. So you can imagine there's been significant changes in this area, particularly in the local community. So what in 1948 would have been a predominantly white Christian community has shifted significantly to a very diverse community. We've still got that indigenous white community here, but they're in their 70s and 80s now. And we have a younger community, predominantly significant numbers of Arabic speaking and other ethnic groups. And some of our challenges are how do you generate community cohesion across the generations and across communities. We have a quarter of our communities in Westminster that move in and out every year, so that's a significant number of people trying to generate a sense of coming together, a sense of solidarity. It's quite difficult when a quarter of neighbours are gone within the year. So we do lots of activities here at the centre. One of our other challenges is that there isn't, although it's called Westminster Village, actually in South Westminster we don't really have a village centre. So what we're trying to do through the Abbey Centre as an anchor organisation is generate that sense of neutral space where people of all sorts of backgrounds to come together. We're a secular organisation, we're not Christian based, although we're called the Abbey Centre, but we do have a spiritual side, so we have a church comes in on a Sunday and we have Arabic prayers on a Friday. And then we have a wide programme of activities, arts, classes, exercise to promote the well-being of local people, whether older, younger and everything in between. We're particularly interested in tackling social isolation of older people because we're very concerned that older people don't get isolated, and that impacts on their well-being and the impact of depression. We're also very interested in families. We know the threats, very sadly, of terrorism out there and the impacts of that on our local communities. For example, we had a lot of our hijab wearing ladies very concerned after recent attacks in Paris because of the hostility they experienced on the street, and they came to the Abbey Centre to talk about that and to share that and to come in solidarity together. Their children frightened, worried whether they should wear hats instead of hijab. So we could reassure. We work very closely with the local authority in that regard, so we have something called the Prevent programme, which is supporting families, how to support their young people, to understand the pressures on young people, to stop young people getting into gangs, being prone to radicalisation. So there's lots of angles, lots of elements, but clearly one of the key issues around the Women's Day was actually to work with women not just as wives, sisters, parents, but also for that self-actualisation. How do women define themselves? And a key aspect of that is in terms of their own economic development. And we do significant work with women, particularly of the Muslim community and Arabic speaking, who do experience significant barriers to the workplace, both in the way that employers perceive them, will they fit in, and also the women themselves in terms of how they perceive themselves, their confidence, their language skills. So what we focus on is actually the skills base of the women themselves, to identify what makes them feel good about themselves, and often what they will identify as their skills are the fact that, you know, they have excellent cooking skills. So we translate that into catering, into something marketable. We look at the fact that it's very family orientated culture often, so caring skills of children, can we translate that into something marketable? And we can get women into NVQ 1, 2, 3 courses, and then they work in our social enterprise, the mobile creche.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was going to say that because even coming into the front of the Abbey, you'd think you're at a business centre. You'd be, you know, there's so many things going on. You've got, you know, massive notice boards and people posting stuff, all the classes that you mentioned, and it's a community centre, you know. But it looks like that kind of place where people do have a sense of they can come and do community-based things, health, well-being, and things like that. And at the same time maybe build themselves and their skills, and sort of, you know, pass that on to the wider society, as it were, and make something of it, even if it's business development and things like that. So it really is one of those places where you think, crikey, am I at a community centre or am I at a business centre? And I think in this day and age, as you said, whereas before it may have been a predominantly sort of white, you know, function area,